Salakia for the inconvenience. Had to stop the part one of this lesson. Now this is continuing part two of this lesson in regards to the Beijing. I believe it was Beijing slammed the United States congressional visit to Taiwan. I was an important phone call, so now I'm back with part two of this lesson. So continuing on with the reading. It says China responds to the House Speaker's visit by holding a unprecedented military exercise in the Taiwan Strait and several trade links with Taipei. Beijing also sanctions Pelosi's family and cut diplomatic ties with the United States in a number of key areas, including the climate change, maritime security, and other military sectors. And it says Beijing considers Taiwan a sovereign. Beijing considers Taiwan a sovereign Chinese territory. Since 1949, the island has been ruled by the nationalists who flew the mainland with the United States' help after losing the Chinese Civil War to the communists. The U.S. officially recognizes but does not endorse China's sovereignty over Taiwan. Although American lawmakers are officially regularly travel to the island, Beijing considers visit by more senior U.S. figures to be a tact endorsement of Taiwan independence. And there was another news article as well too. And I believe after the visit of the congressional lawmakers started their 2-day trip on Sunday. And then this was a news article, China flexes its military muscles near Taiwan. And it says the war games comes in response to the visit of the U.S. congressional delegation to the self-governing island. It says China People Liberation Army has deployed its Navy and fire jets near the island, which began slam and its own latest show of force, and is meant as a stern deterrent to the United States after a group of 5 U.S. lawmakers visit the island. In a statement released on Monday, the Chinese Military Eastern Theater Command said it has conducted military joint combat readiness patrols and combat exercise at sea and in the vicinity of Taiwan. It says the drills took place near the Taiwan Peninsula Islands, which hosts a major air base. Beijing shared footage of the island shot by military aircraft. Chinese military officials insist that by allowing the lawmakers to visit the island, the U.S. efficiencies infringe on China's sovereignty and territorial integrity. They accuse Washington of threatening peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. With its cheap political tricks, the Chinese military added that continues to train and prepare for war and will result crushed to any forms of Taiwan independence, separatism, and foreign interference. It says Taiwan's defense ministry confirmed that 15 Chinese military aircraft have crossed the unofficial border in the Taiwan Strait. Meanwhile, China's affairs officials warned that Taiwan's leadership that was severely punished unless they restrained themselves. It says late on Sunday, a U.S. congressional delegation consisting of 4 Democrats and 1 Republican arrived on the self-governing island, a representation for Senator Ed Merkley, Democrat of Massachusetts, who headed up to the delegations, saying that the group visit was meant to affirm the United States full support of Taiwan, as well as encouraging stability and peace across the Taiwan Strait. Coming fast on the heels of a U.S. House Nancy Speaker Pelosi's controversial visit to Taiwan on August 2nd, the most recent trip was far more low-key, as several media outlets pointed out. There was no live streams of the lawmakers meeting with Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen and other type officials, and footage was only released after the members of congressional has left the island on Monday afternoon. It was Pelosi's visit that precipitated a non-decisive in what were already strained relations between Washington and Beijing. The House Speaker have gone through her plan to visit Taipei came despite repeated protests and warnings from China. Which considering such a visit of violation of one China principle. In response, the Chinese leadership launched a apprehended military exercise in the Taiwan Strait, which includes firing of ballistic missiles. Moreover, China suspended whoever trade relations it has with Taiwan and several other or downgraded diplomatic ties with the United States on a number of key issues, including climate change, maritime security, and areas of military cooperation. China considers Taiwan an unalienable part of its territory. However, since the 1949, it has been a de facto independence after the long siege and the Civil War. The nationalists fled to the islands and established their own administration there. Taiwan is officially recognized by little or a dozen nations, although U.S. is not among them. However, Taipei has a long enjoyed close unofficial relations with Washington and America. Lawmakers, officials regularly travels to the island, yet it visit more senior U.S. figures are seen in Beijing as a tact endorsement of Taiwan's independence. So a more military buildup, more military tensions between Beijing and Washington, United States, and China as well too, as the United States keep on pushing for peace and stability for the Taiwanese and the islands for self-governance, and self-protect, as the United States unofficially continues to support Taiwan full support of being separate from China and from Beijing as well too, as you have China as in response to their military might and strength, they sending that strong message towards the United States and its allies as well too, and they sending that towards any foreign that's tried to separate China from Taipei, because they still under that one China government policy with China and Taiwan, even though they separated from both islands, because you got the South China Sea separate from Taipei, Taiwan Island, and I believe Taipei, Taiwan, they are definitely intrigued by the idea to be separated from China and potentially separate from the one government China policy as well too. As you seen, I was reading through the article, you had China and Taipei, Taiwan. They separated themselves from diplomatic ties of certain things that China cut ties with. I believe it's electronics and any other things that's and relates to that, I believe. So they officially cut ties with them. They officially cut ties with the United States on main key issues or military issues or other important issues as well too, along with climate change as well too. So that those tensions are definitely stirring more up, and the relations between Beijing and Washington is getting more out of hand and is getting more rockier by the day, especially with the tensions between China and the United States as well too, as they increase their military training, increase their military presence near the Taiwan Sea, So a potential in the near future might be coming up very soon. It might be China invading potentially Taiwan, and then it might be some serious consequences of military action of China is doing towards the United States and the allies as well too. That's with Taiwan, So these tensions are definitely stirring up throughout these whole 2-3 weeks. China been showing that military might and strength. They've been showing that backbone. They've been showing a clear, strong message to the United States. If you go that far with us, we're gonna either it's with military response or we're gonna use much necessary actions to cut more ties and more cut relations between the United States and China, and China meant that along with Beijing as well too, because like I mentioned before, the relations are getting more rockier now than ever between Beijing and Washington, and China and the United States as the tensions are growing now more than ever between the United States and China over Taiwan, And I'm going to bring out a scripture as well with that too. Then I'm going to close out the sit-down lesson for part 1 and part 2. Yep, these rumors of wars are definitely building up on an everyday basis as I do these lessons, in the regards to the category of wars or rumors of wars, This is Matthew 24:6. And ye should hear of wars and rumors of wars, right? Because these are, every time I bring out these videos, these are consistently these things in the news on an everyday basis. It shows you more growing tensions between the nations and different kingdoms as well too. I'm going to read that again for edification's sake of this lesson. Matthew 24:6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Matthew 24:7. For nation shall rise against nations, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places, right? Because you're going to have these continual up wars and tensions and between, the nations, That is, as these tensions are starting to wrap up at a high pace, nowadays, And this is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 9. And verse 9 in the book of Luke in the Holy Scriptures, and it reads, But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, which we're hearing right now, is increasing, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not yet. By and by, right? Because more prophecies are about to come to pass, and it's about to happen very soon. With the MOTB, in the Revelations 11 to 14. So those are the two main big prophecies that need to come to pass, and we're seeing signs of it about to become to pass very soon, But in the meantime, hey, these wars and rumors of wars, nations rising against nations, are definitely increasing and building up now more than ever, So, hey, expect for the next couple of weeks and a couple of months on down, there's tensions in the South China Sea next to the Taiwan island. Expect these tensions to increase now more than ever, and expect a potential, we don't know for sure if it's going to officially happen very soon, but it seemed like indications that potentially China might invade Taiwan, especially, United States is getting more involved with Taiwan to push that peace and stability of the separatists to fully separate Taiwan from China, even though they still under that China one governor policy with Taiwan, even though they cut diplomatic ties from Taiwan and the United States combined as well too. So that just boils up more tensions between Beijing and Washington and China and the United States as well too over Taiwan, of its sovereignty, of its self-governor as well too, as they separated from China in 1949 after the Chinese Civil War, So yeah, hey, these tensions gonna continue to stir up, So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Wakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and a ball.